atmosphere and then I'll rip and screaming from your soul. We'll watch it fall. Now you clouds are all gone. Come and set your light through. Just set your light through before we're only whispers in the wind. You can turn my world upside down in a rush like I've not felt before. I can trust myself. I need you to make it turn. I would know. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't write our romance. We'll never be the same again. I could keep the light from turning into darkness. You'd be my escape. What have we been told? Easy to unfold. Future might seem out of reach, but we're getting close. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't write our romance. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't write our romance. We'll never be the same
With anime in our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a group of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all of you nerds out there. Grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience unlike any other. We, of course, are brought to you by Anima Weebs Studios, and this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Happy Friday to all. It is the night before Backlash, a pretty all right looking card. I think there's gonna be a couple sleeper hits and all that, but if you want to hear at least mine and drops predictions for the event, not only do we have grappling with the week where we talked about all that stuff, but we did upload our predictions from that show. You can catch both of those on the channel right now, but those are old things. Those are old videos that you can check out on your own time before tomorrow night. Tonight, it's all about SmackDown, the go-home show for Backlash. And you know what? All things considered, I thought it was a pretty good show. They did do some Backlash build, but a lot of stuff too on this show was mainly just to kind of push some stories forward and just keep our forward momentum going, possibly to the next event after Backlash. So we're going to get into the show here in just a moment. Welcome to all of our returning viewers to the event of the evening. And if you're new here, well, hey, again, welcome, salutations and all that. Hopefully you enjoy our conversations. Be sure to let us know in the chat how you're feeling, any thoughts or predictions you have as well. But if you're lurking, that's always cool too, because you're still supporting us on the channel. But quick introductions. As always, I am your reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Watkins here. I'm here to help guide you guys through the craziness that is professional wrestling. And of course, I am never alone in this endeavor, for you see, there are two lovely gentlemen right above me here that helps keep the conversation pushing and going and all that. First and foremost, to my right on your screen, he is known as a visionary. He's also known as a revolutionary. He's also sold his soul to The Rock and decides to leave me and drop high and dry sometimes and all that. But hey, that is besides the point. He is the one with the most positive energy on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Mr. Legend D Vash. Vash, how you doing tonight?
Sometimes I wonder about positive energy. My optimistic Vash is always consistent because sometimes the past couple of weeks, whenever we have done, when I've been part of SmackDown coverage, I feel like I'm not always the positive Vash. I feel like sometimes I'm like, I remember when me and Drop, when we reviewed SmackDown last week or 2 weeks ago it was, we were so disappointed in that SmackDown show, like, and also that was the same day, the same week as the releases happened. So we were like, yo, so salty about it. So sometimes it's like, does that moniker actually stay true? Who knows? Only time will tell. But it's your boy, the legendary, the humanoid typhoon, Legendary Vash, the visionary. And I'm glad to talk about tonight's show because it was the build of the continuation, the go home show version of Monday Night Raw, but it was for Friday Night SmackDown. Like people say, it was fight night, and it was a good fight night episode of pro wrestling. I was ecstatic. I enjoyed, and now we're about to see another PoE of 5 matches tomorrow. It was a good match of a tag team. It was a good match of a build-up of starting off the show with a tag team as well. That was good build-up. So a lot of things happened tonight. I can't wait to discuss with the guys since my contract with The Rock kind of has me on the appearance by schedule like John Cena is.
I just realized we got 4 tag team matches tonight.
Yeah.
Like, we got 4 tag matches. And yeah, 2 singles match. No, 3 singles matches. No, 2. Yeah, 2. I can count. I know math. Hey, look at me go. But yes, thank you, Vash, for your lovely introduction. And of course, to the left is the one known as the genius of the math. He's the guy to help us process these stories, help us understand what's going on with all these intertwining, mingling superstars as they make their way through the WWE system in order to gain glory and to get exactly what they need in life. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Drop This Box. Drop, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, and I would have to say, just like Raw, which has been on a consistent schedule as of recent when it comes to really good shows, I would have to say that SmackDown definitely hit a home run tonight when it comes to doing whatever else they possibly could for Backlash. I felt like they did a really good job. And one of the things that you mentioned as well when it came to like the tag team wrestling, like I also wanted to point out as well is that you got a lot of focus on the Lucha Libre on here. You got a lot of focus on them. You got a lot of focus on upcoming players when it comes to Aleister Black and his direction when it came to that vignette, which we'll talk about later. So I felt like they did a really good job tonight when it came to certain things.
Oh yeah.
I would like to add that they're doing a good build-up between the balance of knowing that they have a POE tomorrow of Backlash, but also they're having another POE in the next 4 weeks, which is Money in the Bank, and they're finally also starting to promote that as well.
Yeah, they're going to have to start doing those qualifying matches probably starting Monday, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yep.
You would think that they would start on Monday with that. So hopefully they do, but we'll have to see if Adam Pearce decides to make anything official or not. And knowing Nick Aldis, he'll come up with something to kind of make people or force people to have to qualify and all that. But let's get right into the show, right into the action. We're starting off with mainly our headline story here, which is all about the WWE title. We have 17-time champion John Cena defending his title for one last time, one last match against Randy Orton. Now, there are two parts to this from tonight, because I wanted to point this out too. With R-Truth, so we had R-Truth earlier in the night. He's waiting outside for John Cena with like this big old "Let's Go Cena" sign, just holding on to that. He's still John Cena's #1 fan, obviously, because he is John. That is, he's still Truth's childhood hero.
Yep.
And Jimmy is out there. He's trying to say, "Hey, dude, what you doing? Flip John Cena. He's a baddie. Don't worry about him. Move on with your life." But Truth is staying very true, with lack of a better word, to John Cena. And it's very interesting that we keep throwing these little tiny segments of R-Truth still supporting Cena. I want to ask you guys first, because I have a theory about this, but I kind of want to ask you guys first. Where do you think this is going to go when it comes to R-Truth continuing to support John Cena? Vash, you go ahead first.
I appreciate you because I want to go first. It's because I finished watching the R-Truth coverage that he did with Chris Van Vliet. I did watch that, and R-Truth kind of tried to ignore or dodge the question about John Cena turning heel from Chris. R-Truth tried to hey, he's not really trying to answer too much that question. So I wonder if that's been the case, it's because it's going to play to the storyline. So I assume it's going to play to the storyline to the point of the story involving R-Truth as being the fan as he is for John Cena. So if that's the case, I'm here for it. I'd love to see what's the twist, or is he the lightning rod? For anybody that has seen The Flash or knows the Flash superhero comic book story, is he the lightning rod? Is he the piece that could bring back John Cena into the shining light?
Okay, what about you, Drop? What are your thoughts on R-Truth's because he had one instance with John, one little connection there, and it wasn't really much of anything. John just kind of brushed him off, but Truth still continues to support him. Where do you think this might be going for R-Truth and for Cena's story this year?
I feel like eventually you're going to have to run into one of those things where you're going to have R-Truth get used as some sort of way to get more heat on Cena. Because I feel like eventually you're going to have to come to that, because that's somebody that a lot of people love. And if you were to have John Cena do something where he either beats him up in the ring, or you have some sort of segment backstage where he throws him around, I can easily see it heading down that direction when it comes to what they can do with Truth, because that was one of the very first things that I remember us discussing when John Cena first turned heel, when it came to the sort of things we would expect within this run itself. And obviously, since Truth is tied to John Cena, it would make the most sense that they would have some sort of interaction with them, because I feel like you really need to hit home if you really want to nail it in the coffin with this John Cena run outside of what he's doing already. And that's definitely something to really get there when it comes to utilizing truth. Like that's how I feel like it. It's going to be one of those situations where it's like truth is just so blinded by how John Cena is. Like he just takes his word for granted and he doesn't really look beyond that. He just listens to what he says and he's like, okay, you know, that's fine. But then it's going to come to a point where it's just like, you know, similar situation with Judgment Day. You know, he's going to end up getting beat up. But at the same time, I don't think his mindset will change necessarily. But I definitely feel like you need to have some sort of tension between him and John, because it's almost like that bug that keeps getting in front of you, like some sort of fly or whatever. You know, eventually down the line, John Cena's just gonna get fed up with the bullshit.
Oh yeah, and see that's the thing about truth, and I'm glad you brought up the Judgment Day thing too, because like a lot of people, like a lot of the big theories going around is that R-Truth is gonna turn heel because of Cena. It's just like yeah, that could happen, but when you look at the stuff with that he did with the Judgment Day, that's kind of telling what Truth might be doing. And I mean, I had posted this theory in our Discord as the night was going on. I do think that Truth is going to be the one thing to kind of bring John back into the light, because like John's going to keep going down and down this dark hole of heeldom, if you will, and he's going to try to burn all these bridges and all that stuff. But like at the end of the day, because I mean, even tonight, John was getting cheered. You know, there were still cheers, there was still booze mixed in, but I was hearing a lot of cheers in just John Cena overall. Because again, everybody likes to boo John Cena, anyways, but nobody really despises him.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. Like he could still do the beatdown with Truth, but that's the pure thing about Truth. Truth is just like a very pure soul. Because like when he got beaten up by the Judgment Day a couple of times, there was one of the instances where he just shows up back at the clubhouse. He's just like, oh yeah, that was initiation rites. Like, okay, all right, Truth. No, it wasn't. We want you to go away. So just R-Truth's persistence, it in a way, it's just as annoying as Naruto was with Sasuke, where Sasuke was just like, leave me alone. Like, I am trying to be this dark, broody little emo boy, and you just keep coming to me, trying to be my son, my guiding light, when I don't want that. But deep down, he does want that. And, like, that's the other thing is just, like, John deep down doesn't want to be this asshole to people. He really doesn't. So, yeah, I think Truth is going to be that thing that kind of brings Cena back to light. But on to Cena here tonight. He's just here to cut a promo, and one of his many few appearances he has left in the company. And oh my Jeebus, this was a really good promo here. First of all, it starts off. It starts off with his little shtick that he has on SmackDown, where he calls up the new announcer and has him announce him into the ring. But this one had a kick. This one had a really fun kick to it, where a fan threw an empty bottle of Michelob Ultra into the ring. Like, oh, it was so funny. I thought it was great. But yeah, John continues to go on where he's basically saying, I'm going to kill our childhood. Like your childhood, not only like you that are like 30 years old talking online on a podcast about wrestling, to all the wee little whippersnappers that are like 10 years old right now. All of your childhoods are going to be destroyed after tomorrow, because you got to pick a side, either John or Randy. You gotta figure out who you want to win. You gotta figure out whose side are you truly on, because after tomorrow, there's not going to be any other time to do this. And just the promo he cut using his hustle, loyalty, respect lines was just really, really good. Just the way he was able to like twist it around and just say how much he embodies those as well. Like it really fits into this heel character of his that's just like very full of himself and all that. I'm gonna pass this on to you guys. What was one highlight from this promo that really got you guys excited for tomorrow night?
I would probably have to say the things that he was saying towards Randy, because don't get me wrong, I don't mind when he goes at the crowd every so often, but I've been a lot more interested in the kinds of things that he's saying towards Randy Orton, because I did say before the whole crowd thing does get repetitive after a while. And when you look at Cena, when the kind of feuds that he had before in the past, whenever he really nails it in the coffin with his competitors, it just hits really hard. Like talking about the things of Randy Orton when he was kind of like breaking him down as a whole so the crowd fully understands who he is. Like how you always have to be reminded that he's a third generation superstar. Things about his father, things about the drug test that he brought up to really add some sort of tension when it comes to what's going on between him and Randy Orton. Like that was probably something that I really loved, writing the coattails when it comes to, you know, all these different kinds of names that Randy Orton comes across. When we had this whole legend killer gimmick, when Randy initially just went after any person like Mick Foley, you know, etc., so on, you know, people along those lines when he was really starting things up earlier in his career. I just really liked how he was saying all of these things towards Randy because it makes it feel personal. And you would expect that sort of thing to be personal with these two guys, considering all of the stuff that they've been through over these years, because this isn't the first time that they had a match with one another, obviously, so they know each other very well when it comes to their strengths and weaknesses, and they obviously know whenever they get into the ring tomorrow, they know, okay, John's going to reverse this move this way. That's like running through Randy's head, and then John's going to be like, okay, I know how Randy's going to maneuver this because I've been there before. I got hit with it before, and I've also been able to reverse it, and I was able to capitalize on whatever he was doing to me in that time. So I just really liked the personal shots that was going on between the both of them. But I'm not going to discredit like everything else that he said within the promo itself when he was really breaking down his character, talking about hustle, loyalty, and respect. Because obviously, you know, at first you would look at it where it's like, okay, why are you going against those things? Because you're not really this person anymore. But when you look at it from his perspective now, when it comes to the sort of commitments that he has, when it comes to hustle, loyalty, and respect, you get his whole perspective surrounding that, so you get a better grip of what he's talking about outside of what it was before. Because before, it was probably a different definition. Now, it's an updated definition when it comes to how he truly feels about things deep down, because when it came to this whole interaction between him and the crowds to begin with, it was mainly him just really keeping that deep inside until the egg cracked, like we saw when he turned heel, where he let out all of that frustration. So I really liked that part when it came to the whole story that he was breaking down in his promo and everything. So that was like really nice to see. And I didn't buy it for shit that Randy wasn't there, because it's kind of weird. It's like Randy's always there, regardless if he comes out. Like at first, when John was doing his whole stick where we had the new announcer coming out to read his name, I thought at first, because we've been seeing it so much, I thought Randy was going to come out before it even finished, and then he was going to say a few words to Cena, because that was the sort of thing I was thinking in my head where it's like, Randy's probably thinking, I don't want to hear this guy say this stupid shit again. Like, I'm going to come out and talk my shit. That's what I thought at first. But then as it started playing a little bit further, I'm like, okay, you know, he's going to strike. And I at first thought that was Randy. The guy that came out, that was actually Shawn Spears. I guess somebody posted a picture online and you saw the mask down a little bit and you saw it was Shawn Spears. I initially thought that was him at first, because I thought he was, you know, trying to do a sneak attack in the crowd or whatever. And then you saw Randy show up again, and he was able to just lay him out again, which was very funny, because I saw somebody post a whole collage of John Cena when it comes to whenever he was talking to Cody or Randy, where he's always laid out in the exact same spot, like whenever he's talking a lot of shit. And then before the show ends, if it's towards the end of the show or before the show moves on to the next segment in the beginning of the show, it's always him being laid out, which I thought was really funny when it came to that whole compilation that person did. And yeah, that's basically like my takeaway from it. Like, I guess the most I'm really expecting out of this match is obviously what me and you discussed last night, because I know who's gonna win the match. It's just I'm wondering exactly what else is gonna be playing out within this match
Right.
itself tomorrow, because we could always predict who's gonna win it if it's between these two guys, but I'm really curious to see what's that little, hidden detail within the match itself that's gonna make that's gonna make it a little bit more intriguing outside of, okay, this is the last time these guys are gonna face.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're gonna be those people that have like a lot of their matches memorized, and they'll be like, "Oh, that was that sequence. Oh, that was that sequence." Like I could
Yeah.
see that happening, but yeah, I'm not expecting some sort of technical masterpiece either,
No, me
because
either.
first of all, again, I know I've said it before, but it bears repeating just to
Oh,
kind of get the idea into everybody. We know how Randy is. That slow, methodical pace. And we saw what the heel John Cena is like at WrestleMania. Like, it's going to be a very slow match. It's really just for the spectacle and just to be like, this is their final time facing each other. But, and that's just the thing. The buildup with it is that intense. It's literally like the two biggest stars, mind you, of that ruthless aggression era.
mm,
I mean, you could throw Batista in there too because of WrestleMania 21 and all that, but really just like Randy being around more often than Batista, you would probably put Randy above him in that aspect. So yeah, it was really just Randy and John just running the place for a good portion of 20-25 years almost. But I'll say 20. I'll say 20 because that lines up with like the world title wins and all that. Yeah, and plus, like with John being laid out at the end of each segment, I feel like that's just gonna be a bit the whole year, which I'm all for as well, because he sells it pretty well when he's just laying there on the mat. That is basically his Yamcha pose for the year. Um, but
Who's a
on to you.
doppelganger?
What?
Randy's double.
Sean
Oh,
Spears.
yeah,
Ah.
yeah. He was up there for this little moment, for his one shining moment as Sean Spears on the main roster. Uh, we don't talk about Ty Dillinger anymore because he doesn't exist. But Vash, on to you next. What were some highlights for you on this promo segment that John had regarding like Randy and their match tomorrow night at Backlash?
Look, you guys said it perfectly, involving this match between two titans, two legends. Will the legend killer actually go by his name, by his moniker, be what he is? Or will John Cena remain champion and continue ruining wrestling for us? That's the big question. And John Cena continued doing what he's doing. He did a good promo. He went to the point, and this promo for me was very solid, executed to what he needed to. That's all.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think we hit a few good nails there. I mean, some of these lines too, like John John basically saying that Randy's gonna be just like his 2006 drug test, a failure. Dude, what? Like
I
that,
am.
see, that's one of those things I feel like he did, get approved through Randy. Be like, hey, buddy, I'm gonna rib you a little bit because they're both professionals. Like they can kind of shoot a little bit with each other, and they just have the history and the knowledge of each other to really play along that way. But yeah, I agree. I like how he used his mantras to back up not only his claims to kind of let us know the audience, okay, this John Cena. Like now we have it explained to us rather than us kind of interpreting it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see it one last time. My childhood would finally die, except this time I actually kind of want it to, in this aspect, kind of close that book in that chapter in the book of my childhood, unlike things like Dragon Ball Evolution that want to just step on my childhood and cut it up and try to put it up with duct tape, but no, there's scissors involved, so now that's gonna break up my heart and my childhood. I hate you. I hate you, Dragon Ball. Ball Evolution. Anyways, we'll talk about Dragon Ball Evolution another time. We're going to go right into our mid-card stories now to talk about everything else that happened on the show. And the first thing we're going to talk about is basically our U.S. title picture. We have another tag team match here. Playa, holla, holla. Again, 4 tag team matches tonight to go through. This has Damian Priest and LA Knight, taking on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Basically set up because of the Fatal 4-Way happening tomorrow night for the U.S. title. We have this pre-match promo, like walking through Gorilla and all that, with Damian Priest and LA Knight. Cool to find out that Damian Priest is getting acknowledged from New York and getting a street named after him too. So that was kind of cool to find out. I'll find the specifics here in just a second when we talk about the match itself. But him and LA Knight kind of have a back and forth. You know, can they coexist? That's the story we're telling for this match. And yeah, they can coexist. I mean, arguments, sure. Blind tag, sure. Those all happen in the match. But at the end of the day, LA Knight and Damian Priest stood tall for the finish of the match. And then Solo and Jacob obviously getting their licks back in. Out comes Drew McIntyre with a Claymore out of nowhere, standing tall, giving a hilarious promo with Byron Saxton afterwards in the back. And another segment with Solo and Jacob that we'll touch on here in just a minute. But let's look at the match first here. Because again, I thought the tag team match was fine. Again, the story mainly being, can Knight and Priest coexist? Can they work together, at least for this time, to take out Jacob Fatu and Solo? And again, the match was fine. It ended how it probably should have, with Solo taking the pin, Jacob still kind of looking strong. And yeah, I mean, I think Backlash, the match is going to be fine as well. But let's start with this match. I don't see Vash anymore. He disappeared.
I'm still here.
Oh.
I have to fix the lighting, so I just turned off my camera. I'm still here.
Gotcha. The Kabuki Warriors have taken him over. So while Vash is taking care of the Kabuki Warriors, and they're no, you do know. Okay.
Yeah, I do know. I do know
What you think of
what
the match?
is. The match between Damian Priest and I like how they started. First trying to upscale one another, trying to show the communication between one another, and the dynamic between both of them honestly work. I love how Damian Priest is over. When he came out, there was a crowd that loved him, that was hype for him. It was really beautiful to see. And as somebody who lives in New York City, it's really dope to see Damian Priest representing the Bronx, and really dope to see Zelina Vega representing Queens, New York City. So I'm a very proud fan, very proud New Yorker to see that and hear that. And congrats to Damian Priest. He worked his butt off. I know he's a proud warrior, proud pro wrestler, to know that he's about to get his name on the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very. Yeah, hold on. Where is it? Oh no, that's just other news. Yeah, it's very high honor for him to be getting that. But Drop, what do you think of the match tonight? And I guess implications going forward tomorrow night for the Fatal 4-Way.
So when it comes to the match itself, I thought it was a pretty solid match between these guys, because like we talked about earlier, there was a lot of tag team matches within this match itself, which is nice that they're getting back on track with that sort of thing, especially when it came to later matches in the show. I'm really glad that they were able to really push the narrative when it comes to that sort of thing, because that's something that's definitely needed to really elevate that sort of thing, because a lot of people love tag team wrestling. But yeah, like you said, this was pretty much a match where trying to figure out, could Damian Priest and LA Knight coexist with one another? And obviously we got our answer, because there's a lot of miscommunications. There was people tagging themselves in so they could really get that moment within the match itself. But at the end, you know, LA Knight was able to catch Solo Sikoa off guard. He was able to hit a BFT, and he was able to finish the match. But the real meat and potatoes of everything beyond this was when Drew McIntyre came into the picture, and he pretty much laid out Jacob Fatu. He delivered a message saying that he's going to be coming after the United States Championship, and he even has a goal in mind as well when it comes to him becoming a Grand Slam champion, because he's already won every other title outside of this one. So at least, even though, like we spoke about last night, that I believe Jacob Fatu's walking out here with the title, I don't really see them dropping it that soon. It still gives you that sort of unpredictability heading into the match itself, just with that sort of acknowledgement of like, oh yeah, he could potentially become a Grand Slam champion if he wins this match, even though it's probably not going to come now, probably some later date. But that's just a nice little Easter egg to throw in there. And it was also nice how he was mainly talking to Jacob Fatu, because he was wondering why Damian Priest was in this match because of the sort of relationship they have now, why LA Knight is here considering that he lost his match at WrestleMania, which he did make a lot of valid points when it came to their inclusion within the match itself. But I really liked how he was talking to Fatu, because that's the match we really want. Like when it comes to any match Jacob Fatu could have now, because we've seen him have matches with Damian Priest and LA Knight one-on-one. But one of the things a lot of people have been talking about for the longest time, ever since Drew came onto the SmackDown brand, a lot of people wanted to see him and Fatu. So the fact that he's aiming all of his frustration, or whatever you want to call it, towards Jacob Fatu gets me really excited to see if LA Knight and Damian Priest are laid out in that match tomorrow night. What sort of magic are they going to create in the ring with one another? Because these are two big dudes that could deliver a lot of damage, and it's not going to really take, one moonsault or one claymore kick to really keep these guys down. They're going to have to rip each other limb by limb to really put a nail in the coffin there. Like Drew McIntyre said when he made that whole reference to, killing a werewolf when it comes to shooting him with that silver bullet and then mocking him because of his catchphrase when it came to him talking about how he's all gas and no brakes, which I know a lot of people clip that and are going to be using that as a meme forever now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I really like that.
The screenshot has been saved. The screenshot has been saved.
Yeah, so I really like how they did that sort of thing. Actually, I might end up making that an emote on the server too, because we have a shitload of spaces available on here. But it's like,
I will post it in our chat right now. The screenshot I have.
But yeah, those are my like main thoughts on it. Really, I guess like the next thing to like really talk about is probably like that whole interaction that Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa had backstage, because that was very telling to me, and it was like something similar that happened last week. I don't remember it like everything in the top of my head, because like Vash said, we were mainly talking about like what happened when it came to the releases and everything. We touched on the show first, but mainly the topic of conversation of that coverage was whatever was going on behind the scenes. But I know there was something that happened with Solo last week that led us to where we are now when it came to some sort of backstage segment with Nick Aldis. The fact that Solo's coming up to him and saying, oh, we need a game plan now, everyone's hurt, when it obviously he's referencing Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, and then Fatu is like, everyone's getting dog walked, you know what I mean? Because we know whenever he says that, he doesn't need any help when it comes to taking down a Knight or a Priest or even a McIntyre, regardless if he's strong or not. He doesn't need any help for that. But just the sort of like body language and the sort of way that Solo Sikoa was presenting himself when Jacob Fatu walked away, that was like very telling to me. Like, is Solo Sikoa gonna do something like sneaky because of the sort of way that Jacob Fatu is like handling things himself now? Because you got to keep in mind, this was Solo's enforcer originally. Now he's outgrew that, and it's kind of like he grew past Solo Sikoa, which I know that report came out, oh my god, if we pair them together, he's gonna outshine him. It was inevitable. Like, it was gonna happen regardless if it if you were to pair them with one another. But I think that probably leads into what we talked about on our predictions, where I feel like maybe Solo's going to try something snarky or whatever. Not entirely sure what it's going to be. Maybe he's going to help do something. I don't know. But I heard a lot of talk about this whole Jeff Cobb character, which I'm not 100% familiar with, but I know he is Samoan, and you know they love grouping their Samoans with one another. So I'm very curious to see
together.
Very curious to see how that's going to unfold, because if I were to think of something, I guess they had the whole thing of like, oh, they're all hurt. Well, hey, Jacob's smart enough to call a guy to help him out. I guess that's how you could sort of build upon that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I had the same thought too. Like, what if it's something where Solo called Jeff Cobb over? It's just like, hey, buddy, we need your help. Get over here now, kind of thing. And Jacob's not a fan of that. Maybe him and Jeff are like the cousins that just don't like each other. They'll like always get into a fight with each other.
Yeah.
Like one of them will just take a bat, chase the other one, and like swing, break a hole in the freaking garage door, and gets everybody all upset. This hasn't happened in my family at all. It didn't happen like 20 plus years ago. That's besides the point though. Yeah, it could be something like that, because again, like Solo, just all of Solo's plans are not really working out too well. And if Solo like calls in some backup, that could also irk uh it could really irk Jacob Fatu to the point where he's just like, okay, yeah, no, I don't want to deal with you anymore, Solo. I don't like this guy. Why'd you bring this guy in?
Yeah.
I hate him. He ate the last turkey leg at the last banquet we had. Why'd you bring him in here?
Yeah.
How dare you? Fatu! It just, has a seizure right there. But yeah, it could be that. But yeah, that last little segment was very telling with how we're progressing this story with Solo and Jacob, because it's gonna come to a boiling point where Jacob's just gonna be fed up and he is going to decimate Solo, and he's gonna keep continuing getting cheered. And I meant to say this last night because you were like, "Yeah, I have a lot of heels winning tonight and all that," and I wanted to point out, dude, Jacob Fatu, technically he's a heel, I know, but he's getting cheered, so there's your face win for the night if that were to happen. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're progressing to a very good match. I think this is going to be a sleeper hit. This is one of those matches that, like, when you look at it, it's like, okay, this could be on a SmackDown, but it is PLE worthy as well. And I think that slight underestimation of the match can help elevate it and kind of make it something really special, I think.
Yeah. Another thing too is we also spoke about how the division when it comes to the US title picture looks pretty nice with Jacob Fatu as champion, because I did see some people out there making comments where it's like, oh, they're only grouped together in this fatal four-way because they have a shit division right now. Like, that's something I would have to disagree with, like 100%. Like, I feel like the names involved in that picture, Jacob Fatu, Damian Priest, LA Knight, and what's the other name I'm looking for? Drew McIntyre. I mean, those are some pretty big names. Those aren't nobodies. I feel like things are on the right track, and we even spoke about, Jacob Fatu. Second he wins that title, he's gonna make it feel special. Like, if I'm being honest, like without John there, this is honestly their world title, quote unquote. So,
hey, it was the same when Brock was champion for a bit.
Yep.
The US title on Raw was the main title, and they actually kind of did a good job back then with it for a time. Yeah, so yeah, it should be a good time, should be fun all around. But we're going to continue moving on with kind of the same theme that Drew was talking about in his backstage promo, with the total unfairness that's going on around SmackDown, because he had a good point. Drew had a good point, that is, where Damian, he lost at WrestleMania. So why does he get a title shot? Oh, because he hates me? Well, that doesn't make any sense. LA Knight, he lost his match at WrestleMania. Why should he get a rematch? Well, rematch clauses, but
Yeah.
We like to pretend those are things or not things sometimes. This next thing, that the Street Profits take on Fraxiom, and so the Street Profits come out, and they're bigging up their match from 2 weeks ago, which they're still banged up from, which I applaud. This is one thing I wish we had more of when we had like big dangerous matches. So like we're selling TLC matches, great, as we should. Can we start selling like elimination chamber matches? We're starting to sell Hell in a Cell matches a lot better, thank you. But like just like big stipulation matches like that, I enjoy just little cells like this. And Street Profits come out with like tape wrapped around their rib cages and like around their legs and all that. Like they're obviously banged up. They're not ready to compete. So they're just out here to kind of hype up the crowd and talk about their big win from a couple weeks. And out come Fraxiom, who challenged them for the titles. But unfortunately, we don't get a title match tonight. We just get what they would call an AEW championship eliminator. Hey, Drop, how many championship eliminators does that make this week that we've had?
Oh yeah.
Way too many. That's what. But that's besides the point when it comes to this. Sweet you stay up there. This was unfair. I am sorry. I am on the side of the Street Profits. Why would Nick Aldis make a match for these two gentlemen who got out of a hellacious match a couple weeks ago, still banged up? And you're gonna put them in a match?
Oh
Come
yeah.
on, man.
Yeah,
Like,
we're here to be unfair.
yeah, like come on, Nick Aldis. Why you gotta be unfair to my boys? But besides that and all that, this match was excellent.
Yeah.
Like, this was a tag team clinic from these two. Like they obviously are going to be pushing Fraxiom, which good on you. They are an amazing team. Street Profits are proving every single week how good they are and still are. I mean, I was blown away at like near the end of it. Like this was really good. Just like the in-ring chemistry with these two teams. Like there was a moment. This was like near the end where Dawkins was going to run after Axiom. I think he was looking to do a pounce or whatever. Axiom hits him with his finisher, and like Montez does pause to kind of just like laugh at Axiom because he's like thrown out on the outside the ring and all that. But like it's just like quick moments like that. Like the timing of it was picture perfect. And then he also did a freaking Spanish fly on Dawkins. Dawkins is not a small dude. I mean, yeah, he's lost weight in like the past few years. Kudos to him getting into great shape. But the dude like was able to pull off a Spanish fly on this guy and a beautiful freaking Phoenix splash from Nathan Frazier too. Like picture perfect from Seth Rollins as well, because if I remember correctly, yeah, he learned under Seth for a bit.
Yeah, this is his mentor.
Yeah, but damn, man, this was just a clinic. This was just excellent class. Just give me more tag team wrestling like this.
Yeah,
Oh,
I really,
talk to me.
yeah, I really like this because this is one of the main reasons why I mentioned how we had both of us mentioned how there was a lot of tag team wrestling tonight, because if you really want the tag team division to matter, like you really want people to actually give a fuck about it, these are the kind of matches that we need to see on TV weekly when it comes to the sort of performances that Street Profits and Fraxiom gave us tonight. And I was honestly surprised that we got this match so early, but at the same time, I'm not going to complain about it because they're taking the opportunity right here and right now to let the audience know that, yeah, these guys aren't just going to come up from NXT and have matches with whoever for the next month or so. Like, we're going to give them 2 matches, and then we're going to give them a match with the champions so we can tell you guys that these are going to be one of the heavy hitters, or honestly could be like the main characters for the future of this tag team division, regardless if they're on SmackDown or when they get drafted to Raw or etc. so on. Like, these are the guys when it comes to where things are going to be like a couple years from now. And I really liked how they were able to showcase what they're fully capable of. And what best way to do that is by putting them up against, arguably, I would say probably my favorite tag team on SmackDown, the Street Profits. And they just work together so well. There's just so much chemistry between the both of them, or it's like their styles just like mash together so well, almost like you're making a bowl of mashed potatoes and stuff. You're putting the butter, using the mixer, you know, putting your little ingredients in there to add a little flavor and stuff like that to the mashed potatoes. That was essentially like how these guys were working so well. It's almost like they read each other like a book. Like this wasn't the first time that these guys had a match with one another. That's just like the craziest thing about it, is just looking at like what they really did tonight, because I was glued to my screen the entire time when I was watching this match. Like I could not keep my eyes off of the television when this match was going on. And I have no issue with them winning this match, because I get we have that whole thing where it's like, yeah, you know, the champion shouldn't lose or whatever, but I like it because it lets the audience know that they're legitimate, which you sometimes need to let them know early, because they're different from us, where we understand how things work behind the scenes when it comes to the sort of decisions that they make. But we're different from a casual crowd. They'll eat something up so long until they get tired of it, or they're like, okay, where is this going? Because they don't think like from a content creator's perspective, or what they're doing backstage. Like you do something like this, like, all right, they beat the tag team champions. In their eyes, they're the gold right there for the tag team division on SmackDown. They're the kings right now. So the fact that another night took out the king, and then they became the kings themselves, or at least has the opportunity now to obtain that crown so they could put it on themselves, that lets them know straight away that these guys are legit. These guys are legit, and I'm happy that they're doing that, because that was one of my worries at first, because I wanted to be optimistic and give Triple H the benefit of the doubt, but sometimes with these NXT call-ups, I don't really know. But I'm glad that they're doing things the right way, and they're really making Fraxiom matter, and that made me really happy here. And I just love watching Nathan Fraser move around, because he just reminds me of like early Seth Rollins, the way that he was moving around the ring. So you could tell like Seth Rollins really nailed it to him when it came to, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do over here, over there. Like this is what you need to do to really put yourself where I am, or if you rise above where I am a couple years from now or whatever. Like you could see so much Seth Rollins in him. It's not even funny when it comes to him moving around in the ring. And I'm really glad that they're being treated very well on the main roster. Like the third week on the main roster, I'm very, very glad that they're being taken care of.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, this does protect the Profits in a way too.
Yeah.
Because again, they were still heavily banged up from that TLC match.
Yep.
So, you know, them losing and still a very competitive match, like it still took a lot for Fraxiom to pull out the win. So in turn, you know, even though it was still a hard fought match, they still where was I going with that? I don't know where I was going with that sentence. Backtracking. You know, despite being injured, the Street Profits were still able to put on a hell of a front against Fraxiom. Just there's always going to be that little asterisk, that little caveat of, okay, you guys beat us when we were heavily injured. Let's see what you guys can do with us at 100%. And if this was like Street Profits at like 50 to 60% of their power, imagine what 100% of them would give for a match with Fraxiom. That would have match of the year written all over.
Oh yeah,
and I will die on that hill. I don't.
No, I
care.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. So
I'd argue and say they might have a couple of them. Like we might end up like when you're talking about like match of the year categories, if you're involving like Fraxiom or Street Profits or whatever. Let's say you're trying to base it around Fraxiom. I do know when it came to a lot of the stuff within NXT that they did when they were down there. A lot of people did say a lot of the matches were considered to be in that category just because of how good they are. Like if you go on you go on Cage Match or whatever, they have like a high 9 rating when it comes to their tag team. A lot of people love them.
Yeah. I mean, just look at last month with their tag title defense against Hank and Tank. I mean,
Oh yeah, that was a really good one.
That match slapped. That match hit hard. It was great. It was fun.
They brought something out of Hank and Tank I didn't even think that they had in them,
right?
if I'm being honest.
Right, that made me a fan of Hank and Tank, and I barely watch NXT. I'm just like, oh my god, look at these big guys go! Look at Hank just. I think it was Hank, like just launching himself at
it's
the
like
freaking table.
It's like the same thing with like Seth and Jay too on Monday. It's like Seth just brought something out of Jay that I even said to Watkins that I liked more than the Mania match. Like I didn't see Jay move around like that with anybody else. You throw a Seth in there, he's like a completely different beast. You flip the switch.
Yeah. And I guess to kind of put that into perspective, I don't know if you saw this, and again, take a lot of people's ratings of matches with the hugest like bags of salt, but it is at least a fun metric to kind of compare or kind of contrast to. Wrestling Observer gave that Seth J match 4.25 stars.
Wow.
Like that's big for like a weekly match, like a weekly Raw or something.
That is pretty big.
Yeah. I'd have to go back to see what they gave the TLC match. I want to say that I don't think it was a 5-star, or maybe I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it. But yeah, like that's how good that was. And the fact that like Seth was part of that match.
Yeah.
And then you look at his protege, freaking Nathan Frazier, right there. You have Axiom right there. Like they are pushing people to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very much like Motor City Machine Guns were doing when they debuted and all that. So, yeah, again, just a clinic of a match. Vash, what'd you think of the tag match? Unless are the Kabuki Warriors still hounding you? How dare the Kabuki? How dare they? That it should be me.
Yeah, something's definitely going behind the scenes, which is why I'm worried about EO post Backlash or beyond the month of May or June or whatever, because they I don't know if she's safe from them anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're friends, maybe they are.
Showed up. Yeah, selling out to The Rock has its perks, I guess.
Yeah.
So, well, we're gonna mosey on over here. So, speaking of our ladies, we had a few ladies matches tonight as well. We're gonna start off, of course, with an impromptu tag match we had. So, this was set up because Chelsea Green, she's holding a funeral in Nick Aldis's office, mind you, which I thought was just kind of funny that she's holding this like candlelit vigil for her U.S. title reign. I think, God, Chelsea Green just knows how to maximize her time and just hit, for me at least, hit it out of the park. Because this was just funny as hell. Because like the lights turn on and Nick Aldis is just like, "What are you doing? We're holding a eulogy. It's a eulogy for the girlfriends and all that." It just took me out of it because he's just like, "This is my office, though." I don't know, man. It was corny, it was funny, but it got a fun laugh out of me. But he's with Zelina, and her and Chelsea kind of have a bit of a words, and a tag team match is made for Piper Niven and Chelsea Green to take on Zelina Vega and a mystery opponent who happens to be Miss Alexa Bliss. Oh, I popped hard, and so did Ohio tonight. Popped hard for Alexa Bliss coming out. She's back, at least on weekly television. Seems like she has a story going forward, which we'll hint at later on when we talk about a certain other star that she was aligned with. But yeah, she's back. She looked really good in the ring.
Yeah.
Her one series she had with Chelsea Green was pretty fun to watch and all that. Like, I appreciate that, like, in the couple years that Alexa's been gone, she hasn't really lost a step in the ring. And this was a good kind of showcase to just be like, okay, here's your reps in. Make sure you're still in ring. And a talent like Chelsea Green is really good to kind of bounce off of too with that because she can hold her own in the ring with somebody like on the level of the Zelinas and Alexas and all that. But she knows how to, she knows how to sell. She knows how to like make somebody look really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously the baby faces went over and they had a fun little celebration and all that. Again, I thought the match was fine. Kind of your more typical formulaic WWE tag team match. But still nice to see Alexa Bliss. Glad she's back. Drop, what did you think of all of this?
Yeah, that was probably the highlight for me the most. I was happy to see Alexa Bliss back because I've been a fan of Alexa ever since, she came up from the main roster and she was the goddess and she went through her other gimmicks as well. So once she came back during the Royal Rumble, and she was very missed by a lot of people, and that was the biggest pop in that night when it came to how things were really going. Outside of like obviously Jay winning the Rumble, of course, that was pretty big too. I was just really glad to see her come back because the last time we saw her, I believe that was probably during. Was this during the Was this during like some sort of tournament they had or something? Wasn't she a part of some sort of tournament or whatever? Like the last time she was on television, they had like they were going through Elimination Chamber. Okay, yeah, that was the last time we saw her, right? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I was wondering like what she was doing and everything, but I'm glad that she has some sort of story going on, like you alluded to, that we'll talk about earlier, which I'm actually very curious about that. And it also reminded me of something we reported on, I believe, on Grappling with the Week that I'll also bring up in that segment. But yeah, she looked really good in the ring, the way that she was moving around. I really like seeing her get in there. That was probably one of the things I was looking forward to the most. I was like, okay, when is she going to get that hot tag? When is she going to come in? When is she going to do her stuff and everything? And when she was in the ring with Chelsea Green, one thing that I was like really curious, we didn't see it because Alexa Bliss caught Chelsea Green before she was able to do this. I was very curious to see what Chelsea Green was planning to do on the top rope when she was backwards. Was she actually preparing to do some sort of moonsault or some sort of like side crossbody, or you know, like sometimes you could do a crossbody where you look behind you and then you do it like that or whatever. Like I was really curious what she was gonna do. Like I honestly thought she was about to hit a moonsault there. Like that's what it looked like to me. She was about to hit a moonsault on Alexa if she was like on the ground or whatever. Like I was just really curious to see what Alexa was going to do, because that's just something that that's just something you don't normally see from Chelsea Green. Like that's one of the things where it's like, okay, let me, use one of my secret moves that I don't normally use. It's like every 100 episodes or so, you're going to see me use this secret move, or you're going to have me fill up that meter if it's a fighting game where I'm able to pull off this secret move. I was really curious what she was going to do there, but I liked how her and Zelina were able to blend well with one another. They were able to put on, a pretty solid match with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And I'm just really curious to see where this is going to go. I would probably have to say more in Zelina's case, 'cause I feel like we probably, obviously, will be talking more about the whole Charlotte thing once we get to it. But I'm just very curious, like what's going on with Zelina here. Is like, is Alexa going to be a reoccurring character, or is she going to go off and do what she did later in the show, and then? Well, what's Zelina gonna do? Is she gonna have another battle with Piper Niven and Alba Fire and Chelsea Green? Like that I'm really wondering what's going on with that. Like more in Zelina, because Alexa we got a good mindset of. I don't really know with the whole Zelina thing.
We'll probably get a rematch with Chelsea Green with Zelina.
Yeah,
but if we do get a draft, which again they haven't said anything about a draft. They're just rumors that a draft is supposed to happen at some point this year. But you would assume, when that happens, she would get more challengers and we'll probably do something more there as well with it. Um, but yeah, I think that's the thing. What is Zelina gonna be doing beyond Chelsea Green at this point? And where is she gonna take the title after that? And
Yeah.
because again, like Chelsea will be fine. No matter what she does, I think she'll
Oh
be
yeah.
fine. She could still do the Secret Harvest thing because again, when you're an ex-president, a former president of the United States, you do still have a Secret Service. So her still like she's still having a Secret Harvest. That's fine, because it kind of plays a part of that gimmick and all that. And another thing to point out too, the fact that Chelsea, like, because for weeks as U.S. champion, she was wearing like red, white, and blue, like all these bright colors and all that. This week, straight black, just like all
Oh yeah.
black clothes, all black everything. Just
If
she's
I'm correct,
in
the past 2
mourning.
weeks. If I'm correct, she also
Mhm.
did it last week as well when she did the morning.
Well, I didn't watch SmackDown. I was out and about on the town doing shenanigans, so
Yeah.
I
You
didn't see that part.
got a
But I will
ghost.
take your word for it.
Got a ghost talking to us.
I know, right? It must be the face paint that's on Asuka's face.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
for sure.
Imagine
But
he did one of those things where like animated her mouth talking.
that would be
Uh,
crazy. Future
if I
Vash, you have a
had
project.
if I had the lighting for that, I could on OBS. Possibly, possibly if I had the lighting, but that's a future project. Maybe I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
But
funny.
talking about this match, um,
Yeah.
look, I don't really have much to say other than what you guys were talking about. Like this match of Alexa Bliss is what I'm curious about. That's more than anything. Zelina Vega, I don't have much for her. It's more like she met up with Charlotte and she said we gotta talk. That's the one thing that threw me off, and I'm more curious about than ever. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what the fuck they doing with Charlotte now?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the thing we're gonna
Like,
touch on
there's
soon.
there's a lot. There's a
yeah,
lot with
yeah,
that.
like there's a lot to do with that. So it's like,
Yeah.
and I like what Jade said at the end.
Hmm?
We haven't even gotten to all that.
Yeah, we didn't get
We're
to
still
that
on the
yet.
tag match, buddy. We
I
haven't even
know,
gotten to any of
I
that.
know. I just don't have much about this tag match. I just have more like what's next for Alexa. For Zelina, I don't have much more of a comment. It's just more
Yeah.
like
That was my thing too.
hopefully,
I don't know
yeah,
what
like
she's doing.
exactly, Drive. Like hopefully we get something for Zelina. Like cool, she's been marketing. She has been good with the U.S. title. The pictures of the models has been great, Zelina. You've been good. The motorcycle, all that's great and dandy. Your great first gold title. But what's next, girl? Do we even have a mid card title division for you to even type of rotate for the next couple of weeks with the people that have been cutting off? Because we have Mitchin and we have BFAT that could have gone for it, but no, they're going for the tag team titles because they
those?
spoke to Street Profits. Why do they need to go for tag titles when they're not even being presented by Raquel or Liv because Raquel's on vacation? No reason. Okay, cool. Yeah, BFAB and Mitchin. Just continue talking shit for the tag titles. Don't go for the mid card title that was literally made for fucking ya.
I mean, the best way to sum it up is if they tease a draft, because they tend to do that during the PLEs, like little previews and shit. That's honestly the best way you could really rework it at this point.
Agreed.
Yeah. Also, I meant to mention this with the Street Profit thing, so thank you for bringing up the Mitchin thing. Poor Mitchin for getting left hanging by Montez Ford.
Oh, the
She
dot.
tried to,
Yeah,
she
the
tried to
dot.
be like, yeah, man. Oh, all right. Like, oh, girl, no, oh no, oh, that's so embarrassing to
Oh,
be left hanging like that.
I think it wasn't even Montez Ford. I think it was for Angelo
It was
Dawkins,
Dawkins.
and
Yeah.
it was Dawkins, and he left her hanging, and like they walk away, and she turns slightly. Okay, be fair. Okay, be fair. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, but we'll transition now because like we're wondering, what's next for Zelina, but we've been alluding to like what's next with Alexa and everything, and we've been throwing the name Charlotte around. Charlotte this, Charlotte that. What's Charlotte doing now that WrestleMania is over with? Well, Charlotte's out to the ring to kind of tell us some of this stuff, and this happens right before this women's #1 contender match
Hmm.
for the women's title. So Charlotte comes out. First of all, she decides to try to gaslight everybody by saying that her and Tiffany's match was the best women's match in all of Mania history.
Oh yeah.
Which for a second I thought she was talking about the triple threat of Io and Rhea and Bianca. I'm like, oh, you talking about that? She's like, no. Look what I did for Tiffany, your match. I'm like,
Insert
girl, who you talking about?
Insert Saitama saying okay right here. Like, all right, cool, neat,
Like,
fantastic.
bro, who you talking about? You lying to yourself and lying to us.
Yeah, and just like Vash, wanted to say to all of us, it's just,
Yeah, but I said, don't be lying. Just be honest.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Exactly.
but yeah, so she at least took Tiffy to the limit, which okay, you know what? I'll give you that one because Tiffy did come out just looking like she was in a war and all that. So you know what? Fair play to you, Charlotte. There, you could have that one. But she's looking to make her road back towards the women's title, and the crowd are just like. At first, they were kind of half and half with her when she was coming out. But like as soon as she mentioned the women's title, the crowd just started like booing and just like crapping all
Yeah.
over her to the point where Charlotte like, and you could tell that this was part of her promo and part of the shtick because she
Mhm.
wasn't really crashing out like she was a couple weeks ago. Um, but she threatens to leave. She's just like, "Look, if you guys don't calm down, I'm gonna turn this car around and we're gonna go home." And of course, Dayton, Ohio decided to just keep on the pressure. And Charlotte's like, all right, fine, bet. I'll leave. I'll get out of here. She starts leaving in a little huffy tizzy fit. And Jade's music hits. We get another stare down. And Jade she grabs the mic that Charlotte dropped or threw, I mean. And she basically tells Charlotte, hey, before you go, you had your chance. Get to the back of the line. Blah, blah, and all that. And before Charlotte leaves, because like we had a commercial break and then we come back with Charlotte trying to leave. Nick Aldis is like, "Oh, how could you be doing this? You're unprofessional." Blah blah blah. All this stuff like playing upon that, and she barks an order to her cabbie driver. I'm gonna call him her Red Guardian, if you will, limousine rider. If you've seen Thunderbolts and all that, so she barks at him to be like, "Hey, take me home." All that. Door slams. Right there's Alexa, who's just like, we need to have a chat. A lot of stuff here to go on, a lot of things to just kind of dissect, I think. But let's start ahead. Vash, go ahead. Let me know what do you think of like Charlotte's little promo here, and I guess the direction of her character and her involvement with not only Jade but Alexa.
I'm happy as a fan because one thing that Jade said, like I was trying to jump the gun earlier because I was very excited to talk about this because when it comes to Charlotte character, we've been asking that we need a different Charlotte, not just a heel Charlotte, not just a babyface Charlotte, but a character that's not part of the nepotism or that always says that she's the GOAT, she's the best, talk all this high horse. But somebody who works for it, like of what we have spoken about Gunther, like who's back from the barrel, starts from the bottom once again, and get to the top, and shows that they work for it. And once Jade said, "Now get to the back of the line," really love that last line. Jade put her in her place. Charlotte walk out. Nick gotta say, "Yo, you gotta be a professional, girl. You gotta do your job. You gotta go back out there, do what you gotta do." Charlotte wasn't with it. But once Alexa Bliss slammed the fucking door, Watkins, my biggest smile on my face because I couldn't wait to hear what you guys would say because I don't know much of the Alexa Bliss and Charlotte history like you guys do. The one thing I've seen is the clips and the one thing you guys have shown me before about how Alexa Bliss told Charlotte, what is Charlotte Flair without the title? Who is she? Who's that character? and that's something I'm hoping to see. Because by the way, Charlotte Flair looked amazing tonight. She looked fantastic. Abs and everything, dressed, good look, much better prepared compared to a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago. Crash out, like Walker's also mentioned. So I'm really curious to see where she goes with this of Alexa Bliss and with Charlotte Flair drop. I want to ask you for like, do you have any theories or speculation or thoughts about this? Because I know that I was very excited to come to the table here and talk to you guys about this.
I honestly
Yeah,
feel
like
like what you said right there could be exactly what we're leaning into. What Alexa Bliss
Yep.
said many years ago, where she's like, what is Charlotte Flair without a title? Because she came out there during that segment saying that she's going to be heading towards the women's title again. And obviously you heard the reaction from the crowd. They weren't into that at all. So it's like, I feel like we're going to explore that realm when it comes to evolving Charlotte's Flair. Evolving Charlotte Flair's character outside of like, okay, you know, she's always having a title around her waist, or she's always competing for a title. Like, now it seems like we're going to be diving into something a little bit different when it comes to Charlotte's overall presentation, because I saw something come out a little bit ago where it was talking about how she wants the audience to know who Ashley is, because that's her real name. So she wants to explore that realm when it comes to showing who she truly is as a person. And I also feel like this could tie into the rumor that we saw many months ago when it comes to this darker queen character of Charlotte Flair. Not necessarily like an Alexa Bliss thing, like the way that she operates things, but pretty much just cutting it deep when it comes to the whole Ashley thing. I feel like that's essentially what we're getting into right there, and we're going to see that fully take off. Because if you were to go down that route with Charlotte and make her interesting, so she's not this one-dimensional character where it's always the same thing over and over again, you could probably get a lot more people behind that when it comes to the sort of direction and the sort of story that they can go with that. So I do like how they had that sort of interaction tonight, because it opens up the door for Alexa to do something. It opens up the door for Charlotte to do something. So I like that, because Tiffany, she beat her fair and square.
Yeah.
It's time to move on from that. And obviously what we saw tonight, we had Jade Cargill in a match with Nia Jax, #1 contenders match to see who goes up against Tiffany Stratton. I feel like the three of us came into this match prepared, knowing who was going to win anyway, because of the unfinished business that they have, which more than likely, I feel like this is probably going to take place at Saturday night's main event, considering that there isn't anything going on outside of the Lyra match tomorrow. So it's like, you'll have that there. Obviously, things aren't done between Jade and Naomi, so you're going to explore that until they eventually move on from that. But I'm just really curious more when it comes to the whole Charlotte and Alexa thing, because I feel like I could probably give you a better response when it comes to what Tiffany is doing after Nia, because then that opens up the door for like, okay, who's going to be this new person that she comes in contact with outside of the people that we already know of? Because once Nia is over and done with, you know, you gotta give that a rest. Nia wants to get her revenge or whatever. Okay, you get your revenge at Saturday night's main event. Tiffany will beat her. That's when I can give you a better response when it comes to, okay, what is next for Tiffany? Because outside of what we're seeing now, I can't really tell you anything different, because this is the sort of roadblock that we gotta move past before we get to what Tiffany's doing. So what Charlotte and Alexa's doing, I mean, hey, this could be some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. And like, Alexa doesn't really have to hearken much into like any spooky gimmick stuff, because WWE doesn't really do the spooky thing as much anymore. I mean, yeah, you have Aleister Black being creepy. You do have the Wyatts when they're on TV and
But say
when
when they are,
and like you still have them doing like a creepy thing, but not like supernatural, I guess, is what I'm going at. Like, they don't have like spooky special powers or anything. Just, hey, we're gonna kidnap you and torture you with
Oh
videos.
wow.
Ooh.
Mercedes
But
lost
it
one
could
of
be
her
something
belts.
like that. Oh,
What?
Mercedes lost one of her belts. Sorry to be off topic. She lost the New Japan Strong Women's title.
Oh
Thank
shit!
God.
But that's not canon in
Ew.
AEW though, is it?
I know, but it's still
It's
good.
it's a something. But yeah.
Who'd she lose it to?
She lost it to somebody named AZM.
Okay. I'll have to look it up later then. All
Yeah.
right. Ooh, she's lost a belt. Putting people over now. Okay. All right. Yeah. So like back to this Alexa Charlotte thing. Like Alexa could do something where it's like because that's the thing. She doesn't have to be like spooky gimmick with it. She could be like creepy gimmick with it, but also just like be very real with Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
And Alexa Bliss is good enough on the mic to really like do something, like to
Yes.
really dig into somebody like Charlotte.
Oh yes.
And oh my gosh, it's gonna be great when we get the feud started, get everything just kind of moving forward and all that. And yeah, it'll be fun. But like this all took part before this number one contenders match, and Drop had mentioned it. And honestly, like the match quality itself too is
Crazy.
actually pretty good.
Yeah, it
like
was pretty
Nia
good.
actually, like Nia came out to work. Like these two had some pretty good chemistry. They're both very strong women and all that. They have big power moves. I feel like Jade works very well at being more of like because that's the thing. WWE sometimes they try to do this so much with Jade, like try to put her on somewhat equal term with a lot of the women, but it's like nah, just have her go out there, just be kind of a beast and all that. And you can kind of see that when she faces people like Nia, because like they're both very similar in their approaches to matches, where it's like big power move, big power move, big power move, big strike, big strike, big strike, and like Jade having an opponent like that has really benefited her in just refining her own style and all that. But
We
yeah,
did.
I thought. Mhm.
If I was gonna add as well on to add to what you're saying to the statistics, that even commenters said that this is the third time to share the ring, but their first time in singles competition. So that's really good to hear because I remember the first time they had their stare down with the fucking Royal Rumble 2024, I believe, right? 2024 Royal Rumble.
I'd have to go back.
Yeah, from the top of my head, I believe the drop is there. He might correct us as well, but 2024, I believe Royal Rumble is where they were first locking eyes because it was Bianca and Jade locking eyes, and
Oh, yeah, they did.
Jade and Nia as well during the 2024 Royal
Yeah, they did.
Rumble because Jade got signed in 2023. So yes, that makes sense. Yeah. So by the numbers, by all of us agreeing, Jade and Nia locking in was good. I agree with Watkins in that it felt good in the dynamic of her wrestling style of the power move. Cause it was pissing me off. I was laughing like not really a quick side tangent, but just a comment. Also on the online community about Nikita. Like I get her personality, which is very confusing, but as a wrestler, she has some movesets down, and where the fans were saying, "Yo, what is his moveset at Evolve?" JD had to defend her and actually say, "Yo, she actually executed his moveset perfectly. She did nothing wrong." So just to see how fans could be like, "Oh, this is wrong," I'm like, no. If you know wrestling, this actually was. So just watching Jade and just comparing to both things, like watching Jade and Nia, just seeing that not all wrestlers have to have the same moveset as others. As long as it works it for them, and as long as they could tell the story and still work for their tall stature, or even for the power that both of them had. Like I believe I saw Jade doing a high kick to Nia. Nia caught it and actually used her as a powerbomb move and actually worked very well. For other people to do that move, it wouldn't work to the same because Jade has a higher height. So to do that, so I feel like them two just work very well, and I would like to see more of them in the future. Like they might have some good chemistry.
Mhm.
Yeah, she seems to
Yeah.
work really well with people like Nia, which I really do like because she's really able to showcase her strength. If I'm not mistaken, I think she did something similar with Piper Niven a little while ago where she was
Yeah.
able to have a match with her, and it was the exact same thing there. She was able to
You're right.
do a lot of things to really showcase, what she could really do in the ring. Because you saw this match that she had with Nia, she was able to do she was able to pull off a Samoan drop. She was able to do a spine buster. She was able to do a lot of things that really get the crowd going, because I remember when she did that Samoan drop in the middle of the match, it popped the crowd. Similar to like when she picked up Nia and put her over the rope at that Royal Rumble, like a lot of people like, holy shit,
With
she actually made,
ease.
yeah, she did it with ease. She wasn't struggling, she
Like-
wasn't hesitating or
Like
anything.
this.
Yeah.
Like this. Like it was so easy for her to just lift Nia.
Yeah.
And I mean that's nothing against Nia being a bigger woman, but she
No,
is a
definitely
bigger
not.
woman.
Yeah.
Like I mean there's no
plus,
way around that. But
I love
like
how
the fact
I just said, like, I love how Nia also looks more confident in herself as a
Yeah,
wrestler
she's
and being a bigger woman. Like, you could tell her attire, her gear is changing to be more confident to how she feels, and she's not using the extra hair attire if people have noticed or not. So just to see those things is like, yo, I support even my girl. Even my girl's becoming a fan as well of Nia, and like my girl's a big fan of Jade, Bianca, Black woman empowerment and all that. So just seeing how my woman is also supporting Nia as well as a fan, seeing her growth, it's like, yo, Nia has come back now for almost 2 years, and this run of her is doing much better. Girl became a champion. Girl's being on screen. She has the unfinished story. Like she is still being featured, and she keeps improving. So as a fan and as a critic, I'm here for it.
yeah.
it was my boy.
What?
Oh, nothing. Indy Hartwell also became the Hog Women's Champion, so congratulations to her.
Oh good.
Got my boy Solomon Monster
Congratulations.
coming out there talking about it, because I know he works
Oh,
at
nice.
Hog.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, so again, we've been praising this match up and down, but
Oh yeah,
we do got to talk about the ending as well because Tiffany Stratton was at ringside just to watch and see who her next challenger is going to be.
Yeah.
Out comes Naomi, who attacks Tiffany, kind of distracts Jade a little bit from the match. Nia takes advantage. She hits an annihilator. I gotta ask though, how do you guys feel about the way Nia Jax performs the annihilator anymore? Because like she's really softened her
She has
scent,
right.
like almost like she's easily sitting on them, and it's like
Yes.
yeah.
what
What was-
changed between like go ahead.
What was her finisher before? I know she had a different finisher before this one, right?
I don't know if it was
I
a
can't
different
recall.
finisher, but what I remember is that she used to jump from the top rope or the middle rope and
Yeah.
jump down. Now she just sits down instead of jumping down on her finisher. So
Okay.
there's a slight difference of what Watkins is saying. So like
Yeah.
the descending doesn't look as powerful, but I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's to not hurt the woman the boob stomach area or the abs area, or like the ribs. So that's my assumption. Like weight wise dropping down, that's my assumption of why, trying to be safety. But it still looks menacing by implying it, but it doesn't look as powerful no more. It takes the weight out of it. So you wasn't the only one that also knows that, Walker, because I saw it too.
Yeah.
Well, she had another finisher because she didn't start using the annihilator until like more recently.
Yeah, I think her second run she started doing that.
Yeah.
Didn't I
That's the only move I've
I'm a-
seen in her second run from Walker Roca. That's the only move set as the finisher I've seen.
Holy shit, I didn't know she was
Yeah.
40. Holy fuck. I didn't know that.
Nia Jax's
Oh, she's 40.
Samoan
No,
drop.
like, I
That's not
thought
Samoan
I
drop.
thought a girl was in her 35s.
That's what I thought.
Oh. I believe she's a slight older than Naomi. Or I believe Naomi is the same.
So she used to use like a Samoan drop.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like, or like or like her like big leg drop that she used to do. Or
Oh yeah,
I
where
mean, she
she
still does it, but
Ah, yeah, the leg drop. Yeah, she
Yep,
does that a few
yep.
times. Yeah, a few times she has done it. I
yeah,
recall seeing it. Yeah, a
Yeah.
few
yeah,
times.
yeah. But like what Drop said, because when she came back for this second run, she started using the Annihilator. But yeah, I mean, she's been just softly like placing herself on people anymore instead of like the big just drop with lack of a better word, just dropping on people and all that. Like I feel bad for Lyra because
Mm.
she had to hit the
Yeah.
full force of that
Dude,
like a year
Lyra was
ago.
able to do some crazy shit a little while ago with Piper Niven.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy.
yeah. So, but yeah, Nia ends up pulling out the win. Kind of obvious we were going the route of Nia and Tiffany anyways.
Yeah.
They do have unfinished history, which
Yep.
okay, fine. Let's get it over with so that way we could just be done with it, move on with our
Mhm,
lives,
mhm.
and Tiffany can get into something to really just kind of really get some bite into her. Because like she had a good line here where she's like, Nia, that's great that you won, but I'm gonna send you back to the loser table, toodles, like all that stuff. So at least some of her snappy, witty comebacks are coming back, which is good. And that's only beneficial for Tiffany Stratton. Just again, let's just get it over with, get it done with, and move on with our lives like we are gonna do from this segment. Because hey, that we've basically I think said what we needed to say, like, except for what would be next for Naomi and Jade because they gotta
Oh,
finish their stuff.
so I was
But
gonna
hey,
say their match, they're gonna have a round 2 match as Saturday Night Main Event, and then a Money in the Bank. Jade or Naomi would be going for the title and Money in the Bank.
who? Wait, what?
Because you said what was next for Jade and Naomi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my assumption that they will have like another fight,
Mm-hmm.
maybe posted for SmackDown or at a Saturday Night Main Event match at the PLE, and then whoever wins between them will go against for
Okay.
Tiffany for the title.
I thought that for some reason my brain heard that as then they would both fight for the title, like fighting each other for the title. I'm like, wait, what? What? Then
No.
How does
Yeah,
that
I could
take
see
away from
that.
Tiffany? Yeah, but
Yeah, that's my guess
I can
as
see
what
them
could be
go
the
up there.
possibility for them, since they showed the two possibilities last week when we saw Naomi hold the title. First, I believe, no, it was Jade that no, it was Naomi that held the title, and then Jade held it. So we saw
Yeah.
the possibility of what the next champion could be. So that's just my assumption. By Money in the
Yeah.
Bank, or probably by SummerSlam, we might get a new champion, either
Yeah.
Jade Naomi, and I'm going for more Naomi. She deserves it.
I feel like that's probably what it
Yeah.
is. I feel like
Yeah, like Naomi might do something to kind of put Jade on the shelf for a little bit,
especially since
not too long.
Yeah, throw her another car.
especially
Yeah,
since
she
she
might.
recently wants to settle down and have kids, so she probably wants to do a little
Mhm.
something before she hangs up the boots and stuff.
Yeah.
So-
There was also like a podcast her saying that she might retire after this run. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
just
fine.
settle down, like kid wise. So it makes
That's
sense
a-
that she does this.
Oh yeah.
That's what I said. Champion wise, this is her best acting. Girl looks crazy, and
Yeah.
I love crazy. Right, Edge?
What?
Oh, I'm gonna bring that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even what. Anywho, yeah. So, all right, cool, neat, fine, whatever. Craziness. Oh, what's really crazy though is the fact that Aleister Black is back on
Ugh.
WWE and he's facing Carmelo Hayes. This was a short banger of a match. I want another one between the two because
Oh,
they
yeah.
have
It was
some really
fucking
good chemistry.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Ah,
was great.
it
I
was
feel like they
great.
did it. I feel like they did that ending on purpose because they wanted to protect him a little bit.
Oh yeah. Like they don't want Aleister to completely like destroy Carmelo Hayes, so
Mhm.
they're saving that Carmelo Hayes
Yo.
sell of the Black Mass
I
for a
was-
later date.
I was so mad when people were saying, like, I get it. Oh my god, unlike Carmelo's gonna take another pin. I'm like, y'all need to understand. He's working with Aleister Black, a guy who was one of the top guys for Triple H, a guy who just got back. That battle works for Magic. Yes, Carmelo might take the pin, but he's gonna look strong. It's not always about being buried. And I'm like, why am I arguing with people online that always just take things at face value and don't think 5 steps ahead, 2 weeks ahead? What could it mean for the character? No, people just being mad about win-loss or fucking win-loss ratio. It's fucking stupid. Sorry, it just pissed me off. Like, this is great for Carmelo. And after the match, I was like, this was a fucking good match. It was short, but good. It was nice. I wish it was longer, too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, again, that's something we could have for later down the road because there's enough fuel in this fire to really keep it going. Because again, it was just a roll of victory. He didn't actually like destroy him. He just kind of got lucky.
Yeah.
And but again, the two have some really good chemistry. I mean, that just speaks a lot for Carmelo Hayes because it seems like he can have really good chemistry with just about anybody on the
Yeah.
roster. Like any of his matches he's had so far on the main roster have been really good matches. It's just I do feel for the IWC when they're just like, oh, another loss because like yeah, the guy
I
is
get it.
really good and he should be maybe going for titles and all that or maybe doing maybe bigger programs. But I do get it to another point too. They might be trying to do something where it's like we're trying to humble you a little bit, or at least your character humble him a little bit. And I mean, sticking in with the Miz isn't bad, but again, the Miz with some of this and we are awesome. I'm like, it's one of those cringy moments where you're like, you're trying really hard. I get what you're doing, but oh, you are just the uncle who is trying to be fun still, aren't you?
Hmm.
Aren't you? Oh,
I
buddy.
just want to say I appreciate the Miz and his fucking selling with that kick in the face from Aleister Black, and then he just walk out. The Miz just fucking
Mhm.
sells that shit beautifully, like, and
Oh yeah.
it just gets a beautiful camera shot with the way. I think last week, Saturday or Sunday, I tried to do the same kick Aleister Black did, and I'm like, how the fuck does he twist that shit so fast and make that shit look like a lightning work?
Yeah.
And he makes that shit look straight. After I did it, I feel like I hurt my hip. I was like, the fuck, that shit hurt.
You trying to hit black masses on people?
Yeah, I was trying to practice it in the air. And my girl was staring at me. She's like, babe, what you trying? I'm like, I'm trying to do a high kick, but fast. I did
Yeah.
that shit. My head was like, ah.
Did you guys
I
catch
thought-
that springboard moonsault Aleister Black did too?
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Good.
That was amazing.
I really like Alistair's moonsaults like that because like what he does is he's almost like a pencil in a way or like a
Yeah.
board where like he's just so stiff, like he doesn't like bend or anything like any other moonsaults do. He does it in a way where like he stays like very stiff.
Mhm.
And it looks really good.
He seems
especially, I
to
guess,
really
with
know his
body
footing
type,
too. Like whenever he's like about to hit a landing of whatever move he's trying to pull off, he seems to really know like his surroundings very well, which is really good. So,
Bro has that good ring awareness.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's funny you bring up the footing thing because there was a moment in this match where like I forgot it was early on in the match where Aleister like he was getting Carmelo to the ropes and it was like right before he like I think he like clotheslined him through the ropes.
Yeah.
It was a little bit before then, but like you kind of see his feet moving really quickly underneath him, and it kind of shot me back to like high school times, like when I was doing like a lot of footwork exercises or drills and all that with like
Yeah.
the ladders and everything, like trying to go like ba 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 with your feet, like beautiful footwork from him, like being not only just really just like how he maneuvers and how he like gains momentum in the ring like in just a short amount of space, like it's only like 2 feet that he moved, but the way he was moving his legs gave him enough momentum to shoot Carmelo Hayes out of the ring, leading to that moonsault I think that you were mentioning.
Yeah.
So yeah, just this match was just a good showcase for both guys. Like, I mean, again, continuing to show how good Carmelo Hayes is. And see, that's the thing about a talent like Carmelo Hayes being like having such good chemistry in the ring with a lot of people. He's a good player to have because you can move him anywhere you want on the card, and you can guarantee a really good match from him.
Yeah.
Just because he's that good. And there's a few talent that are like that at least I can see. That Shawn Michaels is one of them. Well, look who Carmelo Hayes trained with for the better part of a few years. The other one, AJ Styles, he's the other one that's like that damn good that can literally have a
Gunther.
3-star match. Gunther's the other one. Like,
now that you bring that up,
now
that you bring that up, when it comes to like the kind of wrestler Gunther is, who knows what he can pull out of Pat McAfee tomorrow, hypothetically.
See, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, because that's the thing. Pat McAfee, yeah, he's a commentator and all that, but we know he can go in the ring. He's had matches before with people like freaking Adam Cole, baby, and who was the other one? His match with Austin Theory he had.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that bad. Like,
No.
Pat McAfee can go in the ring. It's fine. Just don't be Gunther, or I am going to unleash all of my fury upon you tomorrow.
But it's like, just going off of what you said, it just shows how good of a wrestler Aleister Black is, or Carmelo Hayes, or Gunther is. If you put them in a situation where they're going up against anybody and they can still pull off a good match, it just shows how you could put them in any sort of environment and they can master it, like, no questions at all whatsoever. And I kind of like how they're teasing us a little bit with what we saw with this Aleister Black match, because I like how they're not really giving everything away, because they know a lot of people are banking on this match to be an absolute banger. And we obviously saw a little sneak preview here. So I'm really hoping once we get to the match between both of these guys, it's going to be like out of these world.
Yeah. Like, and that's all I ask. Just let the boys fight. Let them have at it. Like, let them just go bonkers.
Imagine these guys in Money in the Bank, dude.
Oh God.
I definitely see both of them getting in.
Yeah, I could see them both getting it. You know what's also funny too, just to kind of bring up real quick, the fact that Carmelo Hayes not only is having a program with Aleister Black, but he also had a program with Andrade.
Yeah.
And Andrade and Aleister do have a history. I don't know. It just there's a part of me that saw that and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that Carmelo's kind of working with these two rivals that they had. That they had back in the day and all that. Yeah, man, it's just a really good match. I can't wait for the next round for it.
Me too.
And we're gonna end off our SmackDown talk with this final match here that was set up during the night. We had Andrade and Rey Fenix taking on Los Garza. Now this was set up because, like, for weeks, Santos Escobar has been trying to, I guess, win over Rey Fenix, try to get him to join his little dark side group and all that. But Rey Fenix, he's too much on the light side. He's too much of a Jedi, filthy Jedi. So Los Garza and Santos Escobar attack him after this week, and because apparently, I guess there was a match with Rey Fenix and Santos last week. So,
yes.
Okay. All right. So that was last week. So, which Rey Fenix won. Cool.
Great, yes.
Neat, awesome. And yeah, so they beat down Rey Fenix. Andrade's there to just kind of help him up. And tag match is made. Holla holla, playa playa, bling bling, dollar dollar from Teddy Long himself, also known as Nick Aldis in this day and age. Yeah, this was just one of those fast-paced luchador kind of style matches. Really good. Again, like, we keep talking about chemistry tonight. Like, there were so many alchemical just concoctions being built up tonight when it came to a lot of the in-ring action, because, like, a lot of these stars worked really well with one another.
One thing I appreciate about the commentary is that they said Andrade and Rey Fenix, this is not the first time in the ring together, but this is their first time being a tag team themselves. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. They both used to be in AW. They used to have some matches here, and I know that they probably used to have some matches in the indies. So that makes sense, but never tag team. So that's pretty cool to hear that they have their first tag team match right now in WWE. So their first time chemistry type of dynamic was interesting, like the type of teamwork against Los Garza, and building up the story of how Los Garza might be breaking up with my boy
Mhm.
Santos Escobar.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Berto. I'm glad we're still pulling forward with that story. With
Yes.
Santos kind of being a prick, a dick to
Yeah.
Los Garza, and finally Humberto just. I keep calling him Humberto, whatever. He finally just had it, just like, I'm done. I'm not hearing this. I'm looking forward to seeing the follow up for this next week because Santos did not look happy, and Angel Garza's just sitting there like, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be in the middle of this. I just want to go back to my old gimmick of ripping my pants off in the middle of the match. Okay, great. I'm just gonna go now and check on my cousin here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think about that little caveat with all this? Because like Santos did try to get involved in the match, and it backfired like one or two times where Los Garza could have had the win at one point, but because of Santos interfering, they couldn't get it. So I guess storyline implications now for you drop like where could things be going here? Like how do we blow this off next week or continue on this week? Any thoughts or theories on that?
So I really like how we're getting this focus on Andrade, Rey Fenix, Los Garza, and Santos, because this is the kind of stuff you need to really start pushing the needle when it comes to establishing who these people are. Because ever since Andrade came back, he had that moment with Melo, but ever since then, he hasn't really been hitting above that. And I feel like what we're witnessing here right now could be the beginning stages of really setting Andrade on the path that he really needs to be. So I like how we have this whole thing going on with Los Garza, where it's like, okay, they're not really feeling Santos right now because of how he's treating them. They really want to break out and just get away from the guy because it's just too much from them. That's why when Berto left, he's like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm not going to keep up with his shit. He slaps him because it's one of those things where it's like, you can only take it so long until you snap. So I feel like they're going to see what Andrade is saying to them backstage, and they're more than likely going to align with him. I feel like that's the end game. They're going to align with Andrade. They're going to feel a lot happier with him when it comes to the sort of guidance that he's giving them, which only benefits Andrade in the long run because, hey, now you're giving him something important. Now you're establishing something that's actually meaningful to Los Garza and Andrade to help make them feel special. And then you can get some sort of character change with Santos potentially trying to evolve his character, saying, okay, you lost your boys. What are you going to do now? Are you going to be the same person, or are we going to see this sort of character change with you now? And then Rey Fenix just being in the middle of it just benefits him because he's surrounding himself with all these other people, and it's only going to help him out in the long run when it comes to exactly what his next mission's going to be on SmackDown before, obviously, he comes across Penta again, and then the Lucha Bros reunite, which they teased in the past when it comes to there's only one guy I trust, and then Penta mentioning on an episode of Monday Night Raw about the Lucha Bros and stuff. So we know that's the end game. I can easily see that happening sometime this year, but mainly just going off of what I said, it's like I like how this just opens up the doors. Like it really felt like tonight that there was a lot of things that mattered, like outside of the great wrestling that we got tonight, because we did get some really good matches. It really seems like Triple H is trying to have these people like Andrade and everybody that I mentioned actually have like some meaning to them. So you want to tune in next week to see what's going to happen, because when I saw this tension start with Los Garza and Santos, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And we get it more and more each week. I'm like, okay, now we got the big moment so far, Roberto putting his foot down. So whatever happens next week's SmackDown, because it's post Backlash, we got to start setting things in motion there. It gets me curious to see what's gonna happen next. Like, are they going to officially walk away? Is something else gonna happen? And then you're gonna have the other guy really look at him a different way, kind of like how Berto did, because the other one was like, you know what, I just don't want to be involved. Maybe it's going to start rubbing off on him, or maybe Santos does something to him, because it's like a constant loop. It's like, oh, you do it to one person, it's going to happen to the other, and then he's going to snap. So it's like, it gets me very intrigued. Like, they're doing something that has me curious to see what's going to be happening next. And this is something I really wanted. And this also benefits like whatever plans they have with the AAA program that they're doing as well, where they could transition it there. So you could watch that. Hypothetically, if the storylines play out on that or whatever they're trying to do, there you go. I mean, that's some pretty interesting television.
Yeah, it's a tailor-made story to kind of tell going into that AAA event that they are about to hold, and even further down the line if they want to do more with AAA and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, but I don't have much to add on that. Just kind of the same thoughts here. Just I'm curious how things are going to play out. What is Santos Escobar without his boys and all that? Like without Legado, because like Legado del Fantasma has been around for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So for the group to actually break off, that's gonna be kind of big for Santos, because like I remember, I think I was around when he turned heel. That's when Legado was formed, and that was like what?
Yes.
2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I
maybe
believe it was
before.
WrestleMania 39, I believe, because that's when
Oh, it
him
was way
and
before then. 'Cause
because
they were in NXT, because it was like him, Joaquin Wilde, and the other one that's in LWO. But then they because they left Legado, and Los Garza came in then.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So because they were together from like NXT. So this was like a while ago. Like maybe I want to say 38 time that they're at least when they were in NXT, like around that year, I think.
Yeah, because I remember they were there for a little bit, and then they did the little break-off thing, like you said, with LWO, and then you had that whole thing going on with Santos and Ray after he turned on him after coming up. I think he was coming up from NXT, and then you really started seeing things kick into motion with the heel turn. Now he had to find a new group of guys. That's when they came into the picture, along with Elektra Lopez, which obviously isn't here anymore. So yeah, it's interesting.
And then with Santos, he got jealous because Dragon Lee replaced him to go for a match in WrestleMania, and then that's when he got betrayed, because instead of Carlitos, it was Santos Escobar.
It was Santos Escobar. He was the one who did it. Ah, man. But anything else we wanted to add for this match before we start kind of wrapping up our show tonight?
No.
No. All right. Well, hey, that was our last match for SmackDown tonight. Last match of the evening to talk about, which means it's time to give our quick little final thoughts for it. So I think, you know what, Vash, why don't you go ahead? Give us, what was your final thoughts of the go-home show for Backlash of SmackDown?
Yeah, I appreciate for you tuning in here. Your boy Vash has some technical difficulties, light issues giving me a headache, not able to speak, had things going on in the background. So, light issues. They suck. Walkers has tech issues. I have light issues. We're here in 2025. But for tonight's SmackDown, it was good go home show. It was a fun time. Bit of story. The most interesting out of this whole night as a fan, as much as for the past 5 months, for those that have heard our road to WrestleMania 2025, I'm excited for where Charlotte Flair's going. If her interacting with Alexa Bliss, like out of this whole night, yes, Randy Orton came. Yes, we had the stuff that happened in the beginning, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Also, pretty cool that Drew McIntyre, if he does win the U.S. title, he may become a Grand Slam U.S. title champion because of that now. So that's pretty cool to now add into the toss of the pot. Like, hey, does he have a 25% chance, or do we got the the bum breaking math going on here? So, but I'm really excited for the Charlotte Flair stuff. That's one thing I'm really excited about. The Fraxiom and Street Profits, a great match they had, but sucks to say that Fraxiom, no, that sucks to say. Sucks to say that Street Profits took a loss to help build Fraxiom as a tag team, but I love that Fraxiom are already interacting with DIY, Machine Gun, and Pretty Deadly. Like they're interacting with the whole tag team division. I feel like there should be another 2 or 3 teams to be in rotation. But I know right now Los Garza are being used for other things. But hopefully they get built up again in the tag team division once they get more build in the card. Because I know that's what they're trying to do more to build them in the story and the card so the fans could care about them a lot more. But those are my overall thoughts about the show. Great show. Can't wait for Backlash to see how our John Cena defends his title and his 26th appearance. And then after that, we enter our 25th moving forward.
Yeah. All right, great. What about you, Drop? What did you think of SmackDown tonight?
So I thought SmackDown was pretty good. It did what it needed to do. Just like I mentioned with Raw earlier, it did a really good job building to Backlash when it came to the sort of things that we needed before we headed into the show. When it came to whatever John Cena had to say to Randy Orton, when he was attacking him personally, the things I spoke about earlier. Really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the storylines that we have when it comes to what is going on behind the scenes with Solo and Jacob. That's the thing that really caught my eye tonight. Establishing Fraxiom is really good because that's something you really have to nail in the coffin when it comes to having the crowd care about them. So the fact that they're catapulted to where they are right now is very good. So you could help them be in the position that they need to be, because if we really want to bring this tag team division to the next level, I mean, that's definitely a way to do it. Very curious about the Alexa and Charlotte stuff, because there's a lot of potential there to really give us a different side of Charlotte outside of the, okay, I'm going to go after this and that title. So that's interesting. Aleister Black, Carmelo Hayes, obviously that's not over. Definitely a good dancing partner that Aleister Black had tonight. Excited to see how that's going to evolve. And of course, like we just spoke about, whatever's going on with Los Garza and Santos gets me very curious to see how things are going to be heading in the future when it involves all those guys, when it comes to all the Lucha Libres on SmackDown. So that gets me pretty excited. And of course, we have Backlash, so we're going to see how things unfold from there. That lead us into Money in the Bank when it comes to all the qualifying matches, ongoing storylines outside of the qualifying matches. It's going to be some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting indeed. And I think for me that this was a really good SmackDown. I think my biggest highlight for it is actually probably the way the night is structured and just how the storylines and the match setups are structured, because like there's a good balance between what they're setting up, or their go home setup, if you will, for Backlash this weekend, but you also got some matches that are setting up for the future, or
Yep.
whether that's on another PLE, a Saturday Night's Main Event, or SmackDown. You're still also focusing on the stories that are pushing forward beyond Backlash, and that kind of eases my thoughts on how Triple H kind of handles the PLEs, where it's just like, okay, we have these set of people for Backlash, we're gonna have these set of people for like what, Clash in Paris or something, and then these sets for Money in the Bank. Excuse me, right there. This set for like the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, like things like that. So like he utilizes his talent in that way, so that way like you're not burning out a lot of talent. They're not getting injured as often, and it kind of keeps things fresh too. Because like, yeah, like look at Backlash's card, for example. I mean, we have 3 mid-card titles. One of them finally being one of the women's mid-card championships. We have a match against one of the commentators, and one of the world titles on the line. It'd be nice if both world titles were on the line, but it sounds like from what I'm seeing, from what I saw today at least, that might be saved for Saturday Night's Main Event with Jay and
Logan Paul, right?
Yeah.
So
I saw that guy move most likely, and I'm like, huh,
mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like possibly for the next Saturday night's main event, from the
Yeah.
last I saw. But yeah, I mean, I think tonight was a really good way to kind of fill out a good 3-hour show and all that. Like this is a 3-hour SmackDown that works.
Yeah, it worked.
Do it like this every
Yeah.
That's
time.
true.
Yeah.
It worked. We were entertained. Me
Yeah.
me and Drop came actually pleased because compared to
Mhm.
last week's show of Weebs of the Ring, we were disappointed on SmackDown. We felt like we saw the worst piece of shit on the planet. But now in this week, we were entertained. We were pleased. We were having a good time and having good theories to discuss about.
Thank Fatu I had other prior engagements last week because I didn't even touch SmackDown at all. Like, not even at one point that I like, oh yeah, let me put on SmackDown. Oh, wait a minute. People said it was crap. I'll just keep it online and all that. So, yeah. But yeah, that was SmackDown, everybody, and that was our show. So again, stay tuned tomorrow. We've got Backlash coming up. Vash, are we doing a sidecast or no?
Yes, we could. Yes,
Okay, we could. Okay, so
yes.
stay tuned for social media. Sounds like we could be doing a sidecast, but stay tuned for social media to see when we go live for that and when we go live for the post show of Backlash. And what are the social media handles? Well, if you look down at the bottom of the screen in the yellow area, there are plenty of nice little handles that you can find each and every one of us at. You got Animal We Studio, that is the parent company of Weebs of the Ring. Of course, you do have Weebs of the Ring as an at on all your social media platforms. You've got Legend D Vash, Drop This Box, Watkins MW. Those are our private, well, not private, but like our personal ats and places that you could interact with us for these shows. And of course the hashtag Weaves of the Ring, where you can use that to join in on the conversation, let us know how we're doing, and help us continue to build our content as best as we can. So yeah, I'm gonna just take time to thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, again, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Tell your friends, tell your dog, tell your neighbor, tell your grandparents. Hey, if you're a nerd or if you like wrestling, go check these guys out because they have some fun conversations and all that. And again, all the handles for our social medias down in the yellow below of your screen. Use the hashtag, all that fun stuff. Feedback's always appreciated as we are nothing without you lovely people tuning in. Weaves of the Ring is presented by Animal We Studio. Thanks to our production team for all of the hard work that they put in each and every single day. Thank you once again for joining us. And remember, as always, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everybody. Sweet dreams. Rest easy. And we will see you tomorrow night for Backlash.
Cero miedo.
See you guys.